One Amish family has not purchased a single seed in 47 years. Every vegetable, herb, and grain they grow comes from seed they saved themselves, from plants they selected themselves, on land they have worked continuously for nearly 5 decades. The family maintains over 60 varieties, all open-pollinated, all adapted specifically to their soil, their climate, their frost window, and their pest pressure through 47 consecutive years of deliberate selection. No seed catalog, no online order, no dependency on any company or supply chain that could raise prices, discontinue a variety, or simply stop delivering. Most gardeners buy new seed every single spring without ever questioning why. This family questioned it once, nearly half a century ago, and built the alternative. Their seeds now outperform anything available in a commercial catalog on their land, because no commercial variety has been tested against their exact conditions for anywhere close to that long. This video covers exactly how they do it and how to start building the same system this season. Every gardener and farmer who buys seed annually is dependent on a supply chain they do not control. The Amish family at the center of this story recognized that dependency 47 years ago and made a deliberate decision to eliminate it permanently. The modern seed industry is heavily consolidated. A small number of corporations control the majority of commercial vegetable seed production worldwide. Seed prices increase every year. Varieties are discontinued without notice when they become unprofitable to produce. Availability fluctuates with supply chain disruptions, weather events in distant growing regions, and corporate decisions made entirely outside the grower's awareness or influence. For the Amish, dependency on any external system that can be interrupted, inflated, or withdrawn is a structural vulnerability in their food production. It is not a philosophical preference, it is an engineering assessment. Seed saving eliminates the annual cost, eliminates the supply chain risk, and gives the grower complete control over the single most critical input in any food system. What goes into the ground determines everything that comes out of it. The annual cost of purchasing seed for a serious vegetable garden ranges from $200 to $800 depending on variety count and garden size. A small farm operation spending at the higher end of that range over 47 years has redirected $10,000 to $40,000 or more back into the household by eliminating that single line item. The savings are real. But for this family, the savings were never the primary motivation. The motivation was independence. Complete, permanent, non-negotiable independence from a system they could not control. The reason most gardeners buy seed every year is not habit, it is biology. The majority of commercial vegetable varieties sold today are F1 hybrids, first-generation crosses between 2 distinct inbred parent lines. The resulting plants are uniform and vigorous. The seeds those plants produce are not. Save seed from an F1 hybrid tomato, and the next generation will be unpredictable, inconsistent, and often inferior to the parent. That genetic instability is not a flaw in the technology, it is the business model. Hybrids create a built-in repurchase cycle. The grower must return to the seed company every year because the seed cannot reproduce itself faithfully. Open-pollinated varieties operate on entirely different biology. These are varieties that have been maintained through generations of natural pollination within a stable population. Save seed from an open-pollinated tomato and the next generation grows true to type. Same flavor, same size, same maturity timing, same disease resistance, generation after generation. Heirloom varieties are open-pollinated varieties that have been continuously saved and maintained by growers for decades or centuries. The Amish grow exclusively open-pollinated and heirloom varieties. Every plant in their garden produces seed that can be saved, planted the following year, and relied upon to perform consistently. This is not a limitation. After 47 years of continuous selection on the same land, their open-pollinated varieties outperform commercial hybrids in their specific growing environment. The hybrids are bred for average performance across hundreds of different conditions. The Amish seed has been tested, selected, and refined against exactly one set of conditions for nearly 5 decades. The seed industry profits from the hybrid model. This family opted out of it entirely and built something the industry cannot sell. The family does not save seed from random plants. they save from the best. That single distinction is the difference between maintaining a variety and improving it every single year. Selection criteria are applied in the field during the growing season while the plants are alive and performing. They select the earliest to mature, the most disease-resistant, the highest yielding, the most vigorous in growth, and the best in flavor. Plants that meet these standards are marked and left to go to full seed maturity, while the rest of the crop is harvested for food. Negative selection is equally important. Plants that bolt prematurely, show disease susceptibility, produce poorly, or display off-type characteristics are removed from the garden before they can pollinate neighboring plants and pass those traits into the next generation. This is not casual seed collecting. It is directional selection pressure applied consistently across every growing season. The same principle behind professional plant breeding programs, practiced by hand in a garden for 47 consecutive years. Harvest timing varies by crop, and getting it right determines whether the saved seed is viable or worthless. Tomato seeds are fermented from fully ripe fruit in a water bath for 2 to 3 days. The fermentation breaks down the gel coating that inhibits germination. Bean and pea seeds are left on the plant until the pods are dry and rattling. Lettuce seeds are collected when the flower heads develop feathery tufts. Squash seeds are scooped from fully mature fruit that is cured for several weeks after harvest. Each crop has a specific window. Collecting too early reduces germination rates. Collecting too late risks seed shattering onto the ground or mold development from autumn moisture. The Amish seed vault is not a freezer, it is not a climate-controlled room. It is a dry, cool, dark space, and the seeds inside it remain viable for years using principles that predate refrigeration by centuries. After harvest, seeds must be dried thoroughly before storage. Moisture is the primary enemy of seed viability. Even a small amount of residual moisture trapped inside a sealed container promotes mold growth that destroys an entire year's collection. Seeds are spread on screens or hung in paper bags in a dry, well-ventilated area for 1 to 4 weeks, depending on the crop and ambient humidity. The drying process is complete when seeds snap cleanly rather than bending. Properly dried seeds are stored in glass jars, paper envelopes, or cloth bags. Never use sealed plastic, which traps residual moisture against the seed. Store at cool temperatures between 40 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit, with humidity below 50% and complete darkness. A root cellar, an unheated basement, or an interior closet on the north side of a house meets every one of these requirements without electricity. Small silica gel packets placed inside jars absorb residual moisture and extend viability further at essentially zero cost. Seed viability varies by crop, and the family's storage rotation reflects that knowledge. Tomato seeds remain viable for 4 to 10 years. Beans and peas remain viable for 3 to 5 years. Lettuce remains viable for 3 to 6 years. Onion and parsnip are the shortest-lived common garden seeds at 1 to 2 years, requiring annual saving without exception. The vault is not a single container. It is a systematic, labeled collection organized by crop, variety, and harvest year. The oldest seed is planted or germination tested first. Nothing sits forgotten. Nothing expires unnoticed. 47 years of accumulation are managed with glass jars, paper labels, and a root cellar shelf. A commercial seed variety is bred for average performance across hundreds of different growing conditions. This family's seed has been selected for peak performance in exactly one: theirs. Every year of selection reinforces the traits that succeed on this specific piece of land. Disease resistance matched to the exact pathogens present in this soil. Maturity timing calibrated to this precise frost window. Root architecture suited to this specific soil structure and drainage pattern. Vigor tested against this microclimate's heat, cold, wind, and rainfall, year after year after year. After 47 years, the result is a collection of landrace varieties, locally adapted populations shaped by continuous directional selection on the same ground across nearly 5 decades. Landrace varieties carry a critical advantage that commercial seed cannot offer: genetic diversity within the population. Not every plant in a landrace is identical. Some individuals perform slightly better in wet years, others in dry. That internal variation gives the population resilience against the unpredictable season-to-season shifts that uniform commercial hybrids are uniquely vulnerable to. The family's tomatoes, beans, squash, corn, and greens have adapted to their exact conditions in ways no catalog variety can replicate. No catalog variety has been tested against those conditions for anywhere close to 47 years. This genetic library is irreplaceable. It cannot be purchased at any price. It cannot be recreated in a laboratory. It can only be grown, selected, and accumulated across time on a specific piece of land by a grower paying close attention. That is exactly what this family has done for nearly half a century. A serious gardener or small farmer spends $200 to $800 per year on seed. Over 47 years, this family has redirected that entire expense to zero. Cumulative savings at the conservative end exceed $10,000. At the higher end, the number approaches $40,000 or more. That money stayed in the household, funded other farm investments, and compounded across nearly 5 decades, while every neighboring operation continued writing checks to seed companies every single spring. Beyond personal value, locally adapted heirloom seed has significant and growing market value. Small seed companies, seed libraries, and heritage preservation organizations actively seek proven multi-generational varieties with documented growing history on specific land. Heirloom seed packets sell for $3 to $6 each at farmers markets and through online shops. A family maintaining 60 varieties with surplus seed from each year's harvest can generate meaningful supplemental income from a product that costs nothing to produce beyond the attention already given to the garden. Seed swaps within Amish and broader homesteading communities build a different kind of value entirely. Diverse genetics distributed across multiple farms and families means no single catastrophic event, flood, fire, drought, or disease eliminates a variety from existence. The family's vault is simultaneously a food security asset, a financial asset, and a community resilience asset. 3 forms of value from the same glass jars on the same root cellar shelf. As climate variability increases and growing conditions shift in unpredictable directions, locally adapted seed becomes more valuable every year, not less. Varieties proven across decades of variable weather on specific land are worth more than any first-generation catalog offering, regardless of the marketing behind it. Not every crop is equally easy to save seed from. Starting with the simplest species and building skill over seasons is how the Amish family approached it, and how any grower should. The easiest crops to save seed from are self-pollinating species. Tomatoes, peppers, beans, peas, and lettuce pollinate themselves before the flower fully opens. Cross-pollination from other varieties is rare without deliberate intervention. Saved seed comes true to type with almost no risk of contamination from neighboring plants. These 5 crops are where every seed saver begins. Moderate difficulty crops require isolation. Squash, melons, and cucumbers cross-pollinate freely through insect activity. Different varieties of the same species must be separated by 1/4 to a half mile, or the grower must commit to growing only 1 variety per species in a given season to keep seed true. Hand pollination and flower bagging are alternatives, but they add labor and technique. Corn requires large populations of at least 50 to 100 plants for genetic diversity, and significant isolation distance from other corn varieties to prevent cross-contamination. Advanced crops are biennials. Carrots, beets, onions, and cabbage must survive an entire winter and flower in their second year to produce seed. That overwintering step adds complexity in cold climates where root storage or in-ground mulching is required. It is more demanding, but essential for full seed independence over time. Common mistakes end seed-saving efforts before they gain momentum. Saving seed from F1 hybrids produces unreliable offspring. Harvesting before full maturity reduces germination rates. Storing seed with residual moisture destroys viability within months. Failing to label varieties in harvest years creates confusion that compounds every season. Start with 5 self-pollinating crops. Master the process. Expand annually. This season, save seed from 5 crops: tomatoes, beans, peas, peppers, and lettuce. Select the best performing plants in the garden. Let them mature fully. Harvest the seed. Dry it thoroughly. Store it in glass jars in a cool, dark location. Label with variety name and year. Year 2, plant saved seed alongside a purchased backup of the same variety. Compare performance and continue selecting the best. Add 2 to 3 new crops. Years 3 to 5, expand to squash and melons. Begin isolation practices. Years 5 to 10, add biennials. The vault grows annually. Every year of selection makes the seed more adapted to the grower's specific land. This Amish family started with the same 5 crops 47 years ago. Their vault now contains over 60 varieties that no catalog sells and no money can buy. The only investment was time and attention. Both start today. Subscribe for more seed independence strategies. Leave a comment and tell us which 5 crops you would save seed from first.